Hey, how are we doing, guys? Gray here, and today we've got our week 1 battle as well as the draft analysis for the PBA Season 1. This is the successor to the UPBA, and it's got a really great group of coaches. Their links will be down in the description below, and if you're excited for a new league, a new team, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content for this season. Anyway, we're getting into week 1. We're going up against HawaiianShaymin and their Sprit Archers. Really great person, brand new to the Wi-Fi scene, so make sure to go show them some love. They make fantastic content and they are very good as well, so yeah, make sure to check them out. We're going to have the draft analysis now, and if you want to skip straight to the battle, then there'll be a time stamp on the screen and you can go straight there if you don't care about what we drafted. So yeah, I will see you guys in a sec. Okay, and so getting into this draft analysis, it's going to be a very brief one. I'm not a big fan of draft analysis, so hence why it's just kind of put on top of this video instead of its own video. You can see what team I drafted, it's on the screen. It's a really fun team with chien-pao as a breaker, with setup spam from like Great Tusk, Spathra, Iron Thorns. I want to call it Iron Treads, but no, it's Iron Thorns. Then we got Cyclozar as that utility shed tail piece, another utility mon being Tinkerton, another wall breaker in Iron Moth, and then Bramblegast, Whiskash, and Cricketoon to end off the draft. Just for, again, more hazards, a little bit more removal in our Bramblegast, and then you can see we got 4 Terra types on our last 2 mons. How this worked is we had a Terra budget, and each time you captained a mon, you got 2 Terra types for that captain, or you could double up on the Terra captaincy, spend double the points, and get 4 Terra types. So that's what we did on our Cricketoon and our Whiskash, just because we had enough points left over, but not enough points for us to grab something else as a Terra captain. And you may see us move some of these around as the season goes on, just because we've got so many really reliable Terra mons. Iron Thorns, I think, really appreciates having that Terra bug. Being able to loaded dice pin missile is always really nice. Terra Rock over Terra Electric, just because, again, if we're going to run a loaded dice set, we might as well go ahead and have the Terra Rock just to power up those Rock Blasts. Our Bramblegast is Terra Ghost because its only ghost moves are Shadow Sneak and Phantom Force, so having that Terra Blast, it's only base 80, Phantom Force base 90, but at least it's not a 2-turn move, and fighting is always nice on a ghost type just to be able to hit the dark types, and also the normal types, of course. Whiskash has just got a bunch of typings. Effectively I went for what will help my team, and also what will help my Whiskash be able to set up on things that usually it's weak to. I decided flying was a really great type for that, especially because we don't have a flying type on this draft at all. So I thought, why not? We have got 2 ones that look like they should be flying, but they are not flying. I guess 3 actually. Cricketoon kind of looks like it could fly, and Bramblegast does flow in the wind. I'm getting distracted. Yeah, and then Ice, just because, you know, Ice is a good offensive type and Fairy is a very good defensive type. Water is a fantastic defensive type as well. And then our Cricketoon has got Bug because it needed Stab. It's got the Ghost so it can prevent any kind of Rapid Spin. Flying and Water just because they are, again, 2 pretty good types, and I don't have a flying type in my draft. So yeah, this is going to be the team. I went through the Terrors on Cricketoon and Whiskash quicker than I went through the rest of the team. Sorry, slower than I went through the rest of the team. Chien-pao is amazing, Great Tusk is amazing, Spathra is amazing. Effectively, this is like a setup spam team with a bunch of utility mons just to be able to help us achieve the goal of sweeping everyone, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into our week 1 battle. I know that's why you guys are here. So I won't waste any more time, let's go ahead and get straight into this. Okay, so here we are for the battle, and looking at this matchup, chien-pao looks like it just clicks buttons really freely. Ice Spinner looks incredible. There is a couple of switch-ins in Slowking and King Gambit, but Slowking doesn't want to take a crunch and King Gambit doesn't want to take the Sacred Sword, so I don't think they're going to be particularly amazing switch-ins. Great Tusk is only really kind of needed to check maybe King Gambit and the Garchomp, depending on the Garchomp set. So it's quite expendable if those mons go down. I think it's probably going to be my first sack. However, there is no ground resist on this team. He does have, what, 2 weaknesses and just 4 neutralities. So it's incredibly free Earthquake for me. Bramblegast actually looks really good if King Gambit goes down, And also, if Gengar doesn't Terra Fighting, if it is Terra Ghost, then the Shadow Sneak is going to be incredibly free. Also, defensively, looks great against Dachshund. It looks great against Garchomp. It's pretty good against the Slowking, and depending on the set of the Iron Valiant, it could also be really, really good against that as well. Cyclizar looks like it's a massively free pivot, outspeeding everything naturally on this team, and being able to click U-turn, knock off, and also Draco and Overheat look incredible. Like, only Dachshund really wants to take those hits. Double Fairy does mean that clicking Draco could be a bit risky, but at the same time, Overheat kind of just melts Iron Valiant after the Draco, so that's looking great. Iron Moth is pretty solid, albeit I think a lot of the mons that it really kind of came for just didn't turn up in this match. Dachshund is obviously not going to be able to touch it, so it could well be just a really good pivot around Dachshund, but everything else that's not named Garchomp doesn't want to take a hit. Like, it really doesn't. Garchomp, if it's bulky, takes hits just fine. However, everything else doesn't really want to. It also has U-turn, so it is a pretty free pivot. And Iron Thorns, honestly, if I weaken Kingambit and Garchomp, it is just incredibly free at +1. It just sweeps this entire team. I just need to get a bit of chip damage on Kingambit, a bit of chip damage on Garchomp, probably a bit of chip on Dachshund as well. And then, honestly, Iron Thorns looks incredible. However, looking at their side, the Iron Valiant, obviously a massive threat. Don't know what its set's going to be. It could be physical, it could be special, but I think the most scary set for us will be a Booster Energy Swords Dance or a Booster Energy, just a physical set in general, actually, because we don't really have too much for it, straight up. Mixed would also absolutely demolish my team. Again, do not have great switch-ins to it, so we've got to be very careful about that. Kingambit shouldn't be too much of an issue. We do have Great Tusk, it's just a permanent switch into it. Sure, it could have some tech that would be able to do some more damage to Great Tusk, but like I say, it's only really there for Kingambit, so I'm not too worried if it goes down, taking down Kingambit at the same time. Slowking is offensively not a big deal to this team whatsoever. It's a free pivot every time that I come in. Cyclizar is incredibly free for it. It can knock it off and it can U-turn. Gengar is arguably the biggest threat besides Iron Valiant. In fact, it might be more threatening than Iron Valiant. We have the scout listing set, and we need to preserve Cyclizar just in case this thing is like Specs Focus Blast with Terra Fighting. I do not switch in particularly well to that mon, so I've got to be careful around it. Dachshund, honestly, it just looks like it loses to everything on my team. I'm not going to lie, it doesn't have a great matchup at all. It was good against some of the things that I didn't bring, but unfortunately I didn't bring them, so now it looks like a really bad bring. And then Garchomp, we've got to work out what kind of set it is. I don't see a particularly great lead on his team, so potentially it's either going to be like a lead Slowking, that's not what I was going for. A lead Kingambit or a lead Garchomp, and honestly against both of those I'm pretty happy to lead off with Cyclizar. Scarf Garchomp could be problematic, but we'll work our way around it. Would probably mean that we just need to make sure we keep our Great Tusk alive a little bit longer. And the game plan is mainly just to weaken Kingambit, Garchomp and Dachshund, like I said, to allow our Iron Thorns to be able to sweep late game. We've got a Scout for the Gengar set and the Iron Valiant sets, because they could honestly just be a massive issue and really make me struggle to set up with my Iron Thorns. Yeah, but Iron Thorns late game looks incredible. We're able to take down the Iron Valiant, or we were able to scout the Iron Valiant if it's Scarfed, if it's Booster Energy, all that sort of thing. If we are quicker with our chien-pao, and also if we weaken Kingambit, then we should be in a really good place to just click Ice Spinner. I guess Slowking probably needs to take a bit of chip as well, but yeah, that's the only thing really that's stopping chien-pao from just clicking that Ice Spinner button. And yeah, I'm going to lead off with my Cyclizar, scout whatever Garchomp set is going to be if Garchomp is the lead. I want to say that it probably is. It could be like a Sash lead, it could be just like Rocky Helmet lead with dual hazards or spikes, probably more likely than Stealth Rock, I would say. About the same. I would say it's about the same. And I don't expect the lead Scarf Garchomp. If I see Garchomp lead, I just don't expect Scarf. We live a Dragon Claw regardless, and we can pivot and get our regen. If they need King Gambit or Iron Valiant, we have switch-ins in Grey Tusk or Iron Moth respectively. Of course, the Iron Valiant depends on what kind of set it's going to be as to whether Iron Moth is switch-in, but at the same time, like I said, it's kind of the most expendable model on this team. So we're going to get into this battle. And we're going to see the Garchomp is the lead, and we're going to lead off with our Cyclops. So we did get that lead prediction correct. I don't know if he's going to want to stay in, but I'm just going to click U-turn. Unsure, like, obviously if Garchomp's going to stay in, what kind of set it might be. This will break a potential sash. We can see whether or not it's scarfed, and we can just regen any kind of rough skin, rocky helmet damage if it's that set. And just go into our Brambleghast to scout what it wants to go for. We should be able to take anything with it. And even if it's like especially attacking, we have our ways of working around it. So yeah, we're just going to go for a U-turn, get a tiny bit of chip. We do see it's rough skin, but we do see it's not rocky helmet. So that's good, something good to know. We're able to regen that, no problem. We would have regened rocky helmet as well, but like I say, just going to go into our Brambleghast, as it is a very good switch into this. He goes for the Earthquake, which we are going to absolutely chew. No issues there. We don't know whether or not it's going to have Fire Blast. That could be a bit problematic, but I feel fairly comfortable in just going for the Strength Sap. It's pretty free, and it does give me the necessary health back if he does stay in. Then obviously his Garchomp's going to be at -1, as he's actually going to set up Spikes, and that's fine by me. Spikes aren't amazing for my team, but at the same time, it's not the worst case scenario. We are Strength Sap, go back up to full health, and I'm just going to throw off a Leech Seed because it's honestly just so unbelievably free. However, unfortunately, we are going to miss, and I thought I was quicker than Garchomp for a second, but no, it's just Dragon Tail. So that Leech Seed would have been really, really nice to get that chip damage and ensure that it gets put into Draco Meteor range, because we end up actually going back into Cyclozar. So back to where we were with a little bit more chip damage done to Garchomp and a little bit, sorry, no chip damage done to Garchomp, a little bit of chip damage to my Brambleghast. And yeah, we're just going to U-turn again. Similar situation to turn 1. I still don't think that Draco is going to be able to kill. I don't know enough about this set to know that's actually going to be the case. So I'm just going to U-turn because, again, Brambleghast is very safe. Grey Tusk is also a pretty good switch in at this point. So he is going to withdraw his Garchomp, and we're actually going to see the Iron Valiant come in. So seeing this come in early just makes me think it's not booster energy, and we don't see it. So that's good to know. Potentially then it's going to be either Choice Band, could be Choice Scarf, or it could be Choice Specs. Any potential choice item. But it also could be like Assault Vest, it could be Kebia Berry. There's a lot of things that it could be. But we're going to go out into our Iron Moth, as it is the most expendable one on this team. And I kind of want to just try and threaten this out if I possibly can. He can see that I'm boots from not taking the spike damage. And we're going to go for a Sludge Wave, as he is indeed going to switch. And he goes out into the Slowking. And this Sludge Wave actually does a pretty reasonable amount of damage. I think I gathered from this that it wasn't really a super Spadef set. And we're just going to U-turn to be able to get a little bit more chip damage on this. Anything that it can't regenerate back so easily is going to be vital for a potential endgame, either with chien-pao or with our Iron Treads. So yeah, we U-turn out, pivot into a pretty reliable switch into this mon in Cyclozar. As we're actually going to see the Trick Room come out, and I didn't really expect this, but it's some nice tech, especially for King Gambit potentially coming in. King Gambit on the Trick Room is absolutely terrifying. However, I'm just going to knock off. I don't see any reason not to. We are AV, so we tank this Ice Beam just fine. I'm pretty sure that's somewhat offensive, judging by that damage, and we see that it's actually Cobbleberry, so it's going to reduce the damage from that knockoff, but it is now in range of a U-turn. I'm going to click that, try and get momentum back, as I don't think he's just going to want to sack off his Slowking at this point. We could see a Chidia Reception, we could just see a hard switch. They do in fact switch out, and they're going to go out into their King Gambit, which with this U-turn, firstly, it's going to do no damage because it's a King Gambit. But of course, this means free Great Tusk, and you know when I said they had no EQ switching, we're about to see just how little of an EQ switching they have. I don't expect them to stay in, even with the Trick Room. It doesn't make any sense for them to take this massive amount of damage, potentially just die to a close combat. So yeah, I'm just going to go for that free Earthquake, and get my damage off on something. However, they go into Gengar, and this shocked me. I was like, are they just sacking it? But no, it's actually got an air balloon, which is really cool tech from my opponent. So we're now in a situation where we don't want to take the hit, so we're probably going to have to switch out, and Gengar is really tough for us to switch into. Like I said at the start, Cyclizar is our switch in. Of course, if it Terra Fightings here and just goes for the Focus Blast, we are in for a world of hurt. However, we have seen that it's not choice spec, so at least we can know that it's not a boosting item. However, it could still be Nasty Plot, and that is also a real big problem for us. So in comes Cyclizar, and he actually goes for the Will-O-Wisp here. And that's honestly probably best case scenario, because we take as little damage as possible, and once again we get to click a free knockoff. My opponent is going to switch out of the Gengar, not wanting to take any kind of move from this, even though it's burn, and he's going to go back out into the Garchomp. So this knockoff isn't going to do a great deal, but the Trick Room did end on that last turn, so we're actually going to see this with Soft Sand. Explains why that Earthquake did so much damage to my Bramblegast. Definitely wouldn't want to take that with my Cyclizar. And here I just, you know, it gets a little stooly, because I don't want to be taking any kind of hit necessarily from this Garchomp, and I don't know whether or not Draco Meteor is going to be able to take it out from this range. So I'm like, okay, well, if he Dragon Tails me, he Dragon Tails me possibly into something that I can either click U-turn, or I can click another button with. So I'm just going to go out into my Great Tusk. I went into my Bramblegast last time. If he does have the Fire Blast, I assume he'll click it on this turn. But no, have we seen all 4 moves? I don't think we have. He goes for the Dragon Tail, and yeah, guess what? We go straight back out into Cyclizar. And at this point, I've just about had enough of this Garchomp. It is just sitting here. It is causing me to take Spikes damage. It is causing me to take Rough Skin damage. I'm taking Dragon Tail damage. I'm just clicking Draco. I've had enough. I've seen too much of this Garchomp in this game, and we just Draco Meteor. Unfortunately, it does go down. I say fortunately, I think in that instance it was actually not bulky at all, and that was just a guaranteed kill. So could have done that a couple of turns ago. I didn't. I tried to play around it. I lost health on stuff. Not ideal, but it's over. It's done with. The nightmare is done. And now in comes the I Am Valiant, and I don't know what item this is going to be. I assume because it's coming in, it's trying to scare me out. And I think if he is Choice Scarf, he probably doesn't want to go for the fighting move, because we do have I Am Moth, we have the Bramblegast in the back. 2 very good switch-ins to it. As we see, he is Choice Scarf and goes for the Psyshock, trying to predict the Iron Moth to come in. And since I now know that he is Scarfed, you know what that means. It is free chien-pao, and it's going to be a free Ice Spinner on anything that wants to try and come in on it. We've already weakened the Slowking, done a good amount of chip to that. And the King Gambit also really doesn't want to take this particularly. Yeah, he doesn't want to stay in. We know he's Scarfed, he can't do anything to me. And he's going to switch out into the dash button, so this is not a great switch in. I'm pretty sure this is like fully Fizz Death looking back at it, because it takes just over half. But at this point, because I don't see an item, I actually get kind of scared that maybe this is Choice Scarf. And I don't want to just lose my chien-pao to a dash button because I decide to just attack it, and then it body presses me and I get sad. So I go out into my Iron Moth. I could have just killed this dash button here, but you know, it is what it is. Iron Moth still switches into any move that this wants to go for. However, the dash button says not today. Iron Moth comes in, it goes straight back out again, and instead we're going to go into Bramblegast. And this is also fine, because guess what, this also just, you know, 1v1 dash button, as does most of the things on my team, to be honest. Especially because now I know it's not Choice Scarf, you know, the irrational Choice Scarf fear. As he goes for a Wish, maybe I should have gone for a Leech Seed on this turn, but instead I go for a Spike. Spike's always nice to have up, now we're even on Spike damage on switches, so could be worse. And though he could protect here, I think just going for a Leech Seed, there's a chance that it maybe goes out into King Gambit and wants to catch that Wish. So just Leech Seeding is incredibly free, as long as we hit it, of course, and we did this time. He rolls me again, and this time we get chien-pao, which, now that it's got the Wish, it just can't kill. And you know what my wish was? That I just killed this thing earlier, but you know, it is what it is. I guess the spikes are nice, and the recovery from Leech Seed is actually pretty handy. With all this spikes damage going around, at least I'm getting something back. going back into the Iron Moth, you know, second time lucky, I guess. And hopefully he doesn't go for the Roar, because that would be very annoying. He doesn't, he goes for the Protect. So now the Moth is in against this, and I know that he can't touch me, and he probably doesn't want to just, you know, sack this Mon off immediately. So I decide I'm going to make that call. I'm going to go for the Fire Blast, expecting the King Gambit to come in. And the read actually pays off. He does switch into the King Gambit. We get the Fire Blast, we do connect. However, unfortunately he is Ockerberry, so it takes it just fine. Honestly, it takes so little damage from this Fire Blast, it's kind of sad. Go for another Fire Blast, and unfortunately we miss. You know, Fire Blast is a 30% accurate move when you click it, but he does somewhat over-predict and go for an Iron Head. I'm not about missing Fire Blast again, so, you know, I'm going to go ahead and just switch out. There's also a potential Sucker Punch coming in, so I just go out to my Great Tusk. It's my reliable King Gambit switch in, and it doesn't take any damage for anything it wants to go for. However, we do take a Spike every time, and we are slowly getting withered away, but he does go for the Sucker Punch, so fantastic free turn. Now here I should absolutely go for a read. I should either go for the Ice Spinner or I should go for a Heavy Slam, because the Gengar came in last time, but instead I get greedy and I want to try and get this Rapid Spin off. The Gengar comes back in. I hated it. It was a terrible play, but I still hated it. Great job, Cyclizar, you deserve a good rest. You're going to be the sack of choice here, as we actually see the Dazzling Gleam come out from the Gengar. Cyclizar living on 1 HP, but sadly is just going to go down to the burn. Of course, with that going down, it is in fact chien-pao time once again to click the funny Ice Spinner button. Once again we take spikes, but it's not going to matter too much when it's outspeeds most of the team and can now just decimate something on switching. And it's going to be the dash button that comes in. And this time, despite it living on 1 HP from the first one, we do exactly what we should have done on the many turns ago before, you know, with our irrational fear of Choice Scarf dash button. And yeah, we're going to go ahead, click Ice Spinner again and send the dog to the farm. Time is now getting super low as Slowking comes in, and it's going to take the Spike. As you can see, we've got 2 minutes left, and it goes for a Trick Room, as I'm not going to want to stay in. We send out Bramblegast, and he does in fact just go for the Trick Room, like I said. And during this time I somehow, some way forget that Shadow Sneak is in fact a priority move, and will kill the Slowking from here. So instead, what I do is I make some completely unnecessarily stupid doubles, and send in my Iron Moth to take the Ice Beam. I guess I wanted to get rid of Trick Room turns for some reason. And yeah, we take the Ice Beam just fine. And then switch back out into a Bramblegast that I should have just, you know, attacked the Slowking with turn 1. And he makes a really nice read and goes for the Ice Beam as my Bramblegast comes in. And you know what? Bramblegast put in the work, but it should not have died like this. This was not how he was meant to end. I've seen enough of this game. I'm just going to bring in the Iron Thorns and apparently not go for the Dragon Dance. Instead, I'm going to Terra Blast. I'm going to Terra Bug and Pin Missile, and hopes that this will just end game without the Dragon Dance. So we are going to Terastallize and go for the Pin Missile, and this will absolutely take out the King Gambit from where it's at. It only takes 2 hits from the Pin Missile, but you know, King Gambit apparently didn't have enough pointy things on it. We decided to give it a couple more, and in this position TYRANITAR genuinely looks incredible. Once again, in comes the Gengar. However, as you can see by the match time, there is 0 seconds left, so that is actually going to be the end of the battle. There isn't going to be an actual conclusion to this. However, we did have a discussion after the game, and after a few calcs we decided this game was going to be a 4-0, because he was going to go for Shadow Ball without clicking the Terra button. I think he was Terra fighting, so it wouldn't have even done enough. And that does around 40%, so I would have killed Gengar with Rock Blast. We were loaded dice, we were guaranteed at least 4 hits. 4 hits would have been enough. Moonblast from Iron Valiant also did around that 40%-ish mark. So Iron Valiant would have been taken out from the second round of spikes plus heavy slam, and then Slowking would go down to the pin missile, and that game would have been over in a few turns. However, unfortunately, with the 20-minute timer, we were not able to complete it. So I'd say that minus a few turns that were just unnecessary switches and pivots, I feel this game went pretty much to plan, and I'm really loving this team already. It's so incredibly difficult to prepare for, it's so much fun to prep with, and I can't wait until next week when I get to face off against Kurt and his Terra Dragonite and Palafin core, which is absolutely terrifying. But I'm enjoying building with this team so much that I just want to go ahead and build and play immediately. If you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like and subscribe. The support is greatly appreciated, and also if you've made it this far, the comment question of the day is, did you enjoy the scripted style of video, or do you prefer the live comms? It was certainly very enjoyable to make, and I plan to do this for the rest of the PBA season. So yeah, leave your thoughts down in the description below, down in the comment section below, and yeah, if this is preferred, then I might just stick to this with other Draft League battles. Also, before I sign off, make sure to go check out HawaiianShaymin. Genuinely such an awesome guy and deserving of a much bigger following, so please go and give him some love. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Until next one, have a great day, guys.